It's Wednesday, April 9. In the headlines, solidarity program aimed at providing financial aid to be rolled out soon. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton signs new training MOU with the Philippines. In business news, trustee says SSL lacked assets to repay $4 billion owed to clients. Regionally, a call for fair and easy access to loss and damage fund for small island developing states. And in sports, Reggae Girls lose 4-0 to Mexico's women's football team. Plus, Kingston College to appoint new athletics coach. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The Health and Wellness Ministry has announced a new partnership with the Philippines to address the ongoing challenge of human resources in health. The collaboration was formalized through the signing of a communique with the University of the Philippines, Manila. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says this partnership will involve both remote and in-person training for Jamaican registered nurses. Speaking at a press conference in the Philippines on Tuesday, Dr. Tufton expressed enthusiasm about the partnership, emphasizing the value of the collaboration between both countries.
What we have conceptualized and we are developing is a sustainable model of working together, the Philippines and Jamaica, to expand faculty, to train trainers who are Jamaicans, and of course to provide an opportunity to train more Jamaicans in the specialized nursing areas in the first instance.
These nurses will specialize in various clinical practices with training provided by expert faculty from the Philippines. After completing their training, the nurses will undertake a short clinical rotation in the Philippines, helping to alleviate the shortage of local faculty and available clinical rotation spaces in Jamaica.
And for that reason, we are very grateful because this collaboration will benefit the people of Jamaica.
The agreement follows a memorandum of understanding signed earlier this year when Philippines Health Secretary Dr. Teodoro Herbosa visited Jamaica. Cabinet has approved the proposed National Schools Nutrition Policy. Minister for Education, Skills, Youth and Information, Senator Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, made the announcement at this week's post-cabinet press brief. The policy sets the framework for school administrators to execute or deploy the means and measures in providing healthy and nutritious meals to students.
And we will be tabling it in the Houses of Parliament as a white paper. And this policy has been in train for a long time. And I'm so very happy and congratulations, PS, that we're finally at this point where we can bring to Jamaica the National School Nutrition Policy, which will change the way our children get their meals in schools and the entire apparatus around school nutrition.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is addressing recent concerns surrounding water quality in Kingston and St. Andrew. In a statement on Tuesday, the ministry confirmed that while some water samples from the National Water Commission systems have tested positive for E. coli, there is no immediate health threat. And at this time, no boil water advisory has been issued. Officials explained that such occurrences can happen, especially during droughts, after pipe breakages, or following heavy rainfall situations that can lead to contamination. The ministry says it's working closely with the NWC municipal corporations and other water providers to investigate the causes, assess the extent, and implement necessary corrective actions. It's important to note that boil water advisories are issued by the medical officer of health only when there is an imminent risk of waterborne disease in a specific area. The ministry assures the public that the situation is being monitored closely and remains committed to protecting the health and safety of all Jamaicans. A new initiative aimed at helping Jamaica's most vulnerable is set to launch soon. The Solidarity Program will provide financial aid to those who aren't covered by existing government welfare programs. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness gave an update while addressing the Jamaican diaspora in Florida recently.
Jamaica is at the inflection point in its transformation journey. And during this difficult cocoon, whoever is at the helm must assure, if not guarantee, those who have not yet felt the effects of transformation, those who have been displaced by the process of progress, that the process of transformation will be fair, inclusive, and equitable. And that is what this government has sought to do. We have announced a program called the Solidarity Program, and we will be rolling that program out shortly.
The program, first announced in Dr. Holness's budget presentation, will provide one-time cash grants of $20,000 to $50,000 to vulnerable Jamaicans. To qualify, applicants must not be receiving benefits from PATH, the Social Pension Program, NIS, or the Reverse Income Tax Credit. The Prime Minister emphasized the government's commitment to economic growth while ensuring fairness.
We know that there are people looking on and saying, oh, I see this one get, I see that one get, I see this group getting, that sector getting. What about me? So I want to say that we have solidarity. We stand with you. And we're going to structure a program to make sure that we get to you too as well. Because the growth that we're trying to achieve is inclusive and equitable.
Dr. Holness also reassured the diaspora that Jamaica is on a path of economic stability, citing job security during COVID-19 and increased investment in key sectors.
In fact, I make this point, not one Jamaican civil servant or public sector worker was laid off during COVID, not one. And no salaries were cut during COVID for public sector workers, none. Point that is oftentimes overlooked, but it should and must be said. Good economic management do that.
The Prime Minister urged Jamaicans abroad to invest in the country, bringing technology, cybersecurity, and AI expertise to boost the economy.
It also means that we have to mobilize the Jamaican diaspora. Yes, we want the remittances. Yes, we want the great philanthropy that you exercise for our country. But I want you to buy homes in Jamaica. I want you to come back with the AI technology. I want you to come back with the cybersecurity expertise and set up business. Yes, I want you to come back to Jamaica and invest in Jamaica and help us build that economy.
With the rollout of the Solidarity Program, the government aims to bridge economic gaps and ensure shared national progress. Authorities are warning Jamaicans against consuming raw chicken taken from a shipping container that washed ashore in Hellshire, St. Catherine. Denida Rodney has more in this report.
Videos circling online show people removing boxes of whole raw chicken labeled under the Brazilian brand Perdix. Director of Environmental Health at the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Michael Williams, says Jamaica generally does not import poultry due to the risk of introducing diseases.
Brazil is one of the countries that we do not import poultry meat from. We have producers here in Jamaica, and of course we do import chicken necks and back from the United States, but we do not import chicken meat from Brazil. I could not give the full story at the moment, but we have to remember that there are countries that certain diseases are indigenous, and the risk of spreading diseases among the local population, the flock, we do not import from some countries. And we all know that avian influenza, bird flu, is currently circulating around the world.
Mr. Williams says improper refrigeration can lead to serious health risk.
Poultry meat has to be kept under certain conditions. It has to be frozen, minus 18 degrees C or lower. And we have to remember that once we have thawing of frozen products, then pathogens will begin to multiply. Now, this container was at sea for at least 2 to 4 days from checks that we have made. So definitely thawing process had restarted. And so the risk is there of persons who handle the meat that contamination could have occurred, and serious enteric illnesses, gastroenteritis, Campylobacter, salmonellosis could have occurred as a result of the meat thawing and people handling the meat.
Meanwhile, health inspectors have ramped up efforts to prevent the Perdix chicken from entering the local market.
The public health inspectors have been on the road since last Friday. The teams from the St. Catherine Health Department, also teams from KSA, Kingston St. Andrew Health Department, have been going from premises to premises where we have these food shops, these restaurants, these jerking facilities, and that's exactly what they have been doing. Once there is an extraordinary threat, our officers take to the road and they do their monitoring and compliance inspection. And that is to reassure the public that we are doing everything within our powers to prevent suspect or contaminated food from entering the food chain.
The Ministries of Health and Agriculture, along with opposition spokesperson on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, have issued warnings against consuming the chicken.
The Finance Ministry is making it clear public sector increment payments will not be retroactive. In a statement Monday, the ministry said payments apply only to current employees under an agreement signed with the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions in September 2024. The agreement outlines salary band adjustments effective April 1, 2025, with payments expected to begin in the first quarter of the fiscal year. Ministries, departments, and agencies must determine where each employee falls in their salary scale, calculate the additional funds needed, and submit funding requests to the Finance Ministry. The ministry emphasizes that no agreement has been made with any group for retroactive increments. Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. Fraud-racked Stocks and Securities does not have enough assets to sell to cover its debts to its clients. Kadion Campbell, the trustee for Stocks and Securities Limited, says the company's losses amounted to $4 billion, including $3.2 billion to slightly more than 200 non-proprietary clients and regular clients whose funds and investments were held in their names, separate from the company's accounts. Traditionally, investment companies hold assets in the names of the clients for the client's protection. Campbell adds that the company's liabilities were estimated at $1.03 billion as at May 24, while the realizable or saleable assets were projected at from $107 million to $254 million. SSL's off-balance sheet assets were valued at $345 million, with $153 million, or 44%, to be earmarked for the SSL Victims Compensation Fund, which will become effective next month. Iron Rock Insurance Company Limited has advised that effective April 1, 2025, Mr. Christian Watt has been appointed as a director and chief executive officer of the company. Iron Rock has also advised that effective April 1, 2025, its registered office has moved to 33 Hope Road, Kingston 10, which is the former headquarters of Scandal Rock Stocks and Securities Investment House. Executive Director of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Kamisha Turner-Blake, is predicting job losses in the manufacturing sector and across the broader economy due to the 10% tariffs on Jamaica's exports to the USA, coupled with the high cost of energy. This, she says, will be inevitable if the government does not provide assistance to the sector. Speaking to the RJR News, Turner-Blake says help is most needed with the cost of imported inputs, as well as access to more affordable capital. Mrs. Turner-Blake is also urging that more investments be made in irrigation, new and more advanced equipment for the Scientific Research Commission and Jamaica Business Development Corporation to facilitate innovation. In addition, she has recommended that the special economic zones be modified to allow manufacturers to have access to cheaper energy and factory space. For the trading period ending April 8, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Alternative energy provider Wigton Energy Limited with 3,978,257 units traded, representing 24.58% of market sales volume. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 3,449,804 units traded, representing 21.32% of market sales volume. Automotive supplier Tropical Battery Company Limited with 895,136 units traded, representing 5.53% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On April 8, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US 55.10 million purchased and US 50.17 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.88 per dollar, selling the US at $159.26 and buying the US at $157.38. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $1.14 per transaction, with selling at $112.63 and buying at $111.49. The British pound yielded Forex traders $2.24 in profits, with selling at $202.05 and buying at $199.81. For our credit report tip of the day, you're not just fixing your credit, you're building your legacy. That said, rebuilding your credit shouldn't feel like fighting through red tape and radio silence. But let's be honest, it often does. Don't let a few gatekeepers shake your resolve. Stay focused, stay consistent, and build with intention. Research bank policies before walking in. Banks vary widely on how they support credit building. Some are more progressive than others. And switch banks if needed. You deserve to be treated with respect and supported. Don't stay loyal to poor service. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step forward to your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, the government of Barbados is emphasizing the need for fair and easy access to the Loss and Damage Fund for Barbados and other small island developing states. Environment Minister Adrian Ford says this support is critical for responding to climate change disasters. The fund, established at COP27, aims to assist vulnerable nations. Minister Ford made Barbados' stance clear at the opening of the fund's 5th board meeting at the Hilton Barbados Resort. Anesta Henry has the report.
Minister Ford says the Loss and Damage Fund signifies international solidarity. But of particular importance, it must be a tool of practical fair play for small island developing states. He says for this to be achieved, there must be adequate capitalization and transparent accessibility to the financial resources.
The communities and the people who are most affected by serious climate events need to be assured that the Loss and Damage Fund is viable and can respond quickly to their needs.
The glancing blow of Hurricane Beryl left the fishing industry devastated, with more than 90% of the fishing fleet destroyed or damaged. Minister Ford says there was over $200 million in damage and hundreds of lives were disrupted.
After Hurricane Beryl on the 1st of July, by the 2nd of July, the Prime Minister and the government, of course, had to respond with alacrity because we had families whose basic needs were still there. Their basic needs were ever present. The need to survive, to eat, to drink, to have shelter, food. Those needs were immediate. And so that's why the fund must operate with a measure of alacrity.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Loss and Damage Fund, Ibrahim Ashik Diong, says the board has heard Minister Ford's call to accelerate any support the fund will provide to countries in need.
Barbados has been a leader in championing loss and damage for the past decades. Not only because you're affected by loss and damage, but your Prime Minister, your entire government has been extremely helpful in championing and making a call to action that get us to where we are today. So Barbados deserve a deep gratitude not only from this board, from the entire international community.
The Loss and Damage Fund was created at the 27th Conference of Parties in Egypt in 2022, following decades of campaigning by a coalition of Pacific Island nations and developing countries.
In news from Guyana, there are several issues and matters labor ministers across the Caribbean considered when they met in Georgetown on Monday for the launch of the 13th International Labor Organization meeting of Caribbean Labor Ministries. Director General of the ILO, Gilbert Hongbo, said social justice in workplaces is a key focus of the discussions, while other regional ministers spoke about other matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, this conference is more than just a dialogue. It is a call to action as we deliberate on strategies to enhance labor market resilience, strengthen social protections, and promote sustainable economic development. Let us reaffirm our commitment to the principles of decent work, social justice, and economic equity.
Picture a future where solar technologies and geothermal turbine engineers are among the most sought after jobs or professions in the Caribbean, where young people see their future not as something to fear, but with excitement, as something to shape with their hands, their ideas, and their passion.
This is a critical moment that calls for a renewed commitment to the core values that inspire the creation of ILO: justice, humanity, and peace should guide us as we work toward a new social contract. One that is based on social justice, equitable economic growth, solidarity, and environmental protection.
In Antigua and Barbuda, primary and secondary school students are benefiting from basic demonstrations and practical sessions as part of first aid training. The sessions, being held at the Multipurpose Cultural and Exhibition Center, are part of the Caribbean Safe Schools initiative. Theresa Goodwin reports.
From being introduced to basic life-saving techniques for adults and children, wound care and choking, the students were engrossed in the exhibition as they made their way through the various stations set up by the Antigua and Barbuda Red Cross. Education Officer Ralston Nikio is the focal point for the Caribbean Safe School initiative.
This week, not just today, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we are basically trying to get our student counselors trained. So you'll see that Red Cross is here and they're basically going through their training with our students.
The demonstrations will continue throughout the week to ensure that every school has the opportunity to participate in the training sessions.
We had the secondary schools from the countryside in the morning, and this afternoon we have Zone 3. And tomorrow we'll have the secondary schools from the town area in the morning and Zone 4 in the afternoon.
Program and Operations Officer at the Antigua and Barbuda Red Cross, Victoria Charlton, provides an overview of the program.
This week we will be doing a first aid workshop with the students, both primary and secondary. This is a workshop where we show them basic life-saving skills so they're able to identify emergencies in their context.
The students themselves share more about their experience after participating in the day's proceedings. They also react to being part of the training that could potentially save lives.
So far, I've learned a lot of good things because I feel if I were in the real life situation, I could possibly save someone in need.
I feel like I could help someone, and in case, even if it happened to me, I might be able to help myself.
I feel that in the future, I can help myself or someone when there's something happening to them, and it's very helpful.
As the Ministry of Education continues its Safe School initiative, this hands-on training is not only equipping students with the life-saving skills, but also building their confidence to act in emergencies.
In sports, we kick off today's report with some not-so-great football news. Mexico's women football team secured a commanding 4-0 victory over Jamaica's Reggae Girls in the second of two friendly internationals at Shell Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas yesterday. The Mexicans took control early, with Alice Soto scoring 2 goals, 11th and 24th, while Lisbeth Oval and Scarlett Chambers added to the tally. By the 25th minute, Mexico was comfortably ahead 4-0, and that's the lead that they maintained for the rest of the match. Over to athletics. Big changes are coming to Kingston College's track and field program. Head coach Leaford Grant is set to step back at the end of the season, but he won't be leaving entirely. KC's principal, Dave Myrie, confirms that a new head coach will be appointed soon as part of a carefully planned transition. Grant, who has led KC to 5 boys' champs titles in the last 6 years, will take on a reduced role. Myrie praised Grant's impact on the program, calling his leadership exceptional. He assures fans that KC's winning ambitions remain intact, with the new coach set to be announced shortly. KC remains the most successful school in boys' champs history, lifting their 36th Mortimer Geddes Trophy last month. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can watch us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching.